Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah Wadash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught us this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Barakatham, to the brethren out there of the elect. And just to back up 1 minute to say, to include and the elder bishops on down as well that have taught us this truth. And it's your brother Laban. And what I want to do is I want to give my take on this GOCC leader, as he calls himself now, Rakah Ayash. And he's saying that anyone that can prove that Cornelius is an Israelite will be given $1,000. And I mean, this is to be expected of a man that's been lying for years and waxing even worse for this time being, as well as the Saquon of GMS South Carolina, Manat Bar has already said in this video of the amount of things that he's been saying and the things that he has done that we've known about throughout the years. Again, you can't expect anything else to come out of this man's mouth besides corruption, because he is corruption. That's all he's been showing forth for all these years, as I say once again. So what I want to do is I want to read the book of Acts chapter 2 for a reasoning, because the 12 disciples were the first to ever get the revelation of the Gentiles being the Israelites. Now Yahushua told them, he said, look, go not into any of the cities of the Samaritans, enter ye not, and the Gentiles, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So it seems as though it's contradicting itself, but no, the disciples weren't on a level to deal with, that side of things in regards to dealing with the Israelite foreigners, so they had to learn and grow up in the spirit. And so that was revealed to them, and that's what they did. So when the Lord, came upon them and brought upon them the talent to speak the various different language, by that time, of course, they would already have been matured in the spirit to deal with this, to deal with the understanding that, yes, you're going to have Israelites that are scattered abroad and probably looking like the other nations, that you got to go and wake up to this gospel. All right. So in Acts chapter 2 and verse 1, and when the day of Pentecost was fully come, and I'm going to get to the topic of discussion, but I just want to get into this to convey a point. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all of the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them, and they were all filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak with other tongues, as the Spirit gave them utterance. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation. Now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man had heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, behold, are not all these which speak Galilean? Which they were from Turkey. The Galileans, the Israelite foreigners in Galilee, were not from Turkey, excuse me. These people were from North Israel. And how had we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born? Parthians and Medes, Elamites, and the dwellers in Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and Cappadocians, and Pontus, in Asia. So let's look up this word Parthians real quick. Parthians, which means a pledge, an inhabitant of Parthia, a district of Asia bound on the north by Hyrcania, on the east of Arania, on the south of Carmania, deserter, on the west by Media. Right. So yeah, they were you could say they were among Elam. So let me read this again. Let's go back up. And Medes, which the Medes were Japhites, and Elamites, and the dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus, and Asia, Persia. I believe that's in, I'm not going to guess. I believe it's in, yeah, Asia Minor. Okay, right. Lydia, a region in Asia Minor bounded by Bithynia, Galatia, Lycaonia, Pisidia, Lydia, Mysia, contains the cities of Laodicea, Hierapolis, and Colossus. Right. That's that region of, that's like around Turkey. And let me look up the map real quick. That's like Turkey, Laconia. Let me see these places, man. Okay, Galatia. It's a lot about that. Yeah, so let's take this over here so we don't confuse things. Excuse me. Yeah, we're going to bring this over here. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. Asia Minor. Yeah, Asia Minor. Yeah. So all of this is Turkey. All of this is Turkey. All of these regions they went to. Let's go here. Let's read this again. Persia and Pamphylia in Egypt and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes. And that's why you had the book of Romans. Cretes and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongue, and wonderful works of the Most High. And they were all amazed and were in doubt, saying one to another, which meaneth this? And others mocking said, these men are full of new wine. Yeah, because they've never heard that before. They've never heard the resurrection doctrine taught to them. So to them, it was a new doctrine, you know. So yeah, you know, you had Israelites in Asia Minor, and as well as it reads strangers in Rome. And that's where Cornelius is coming at, because he was of the Italian band. Again, this is why the Apostle Paul, when he came on the scene, his office was just to deal with the Israelite foreigners. And he went to Rome and dealt with Israelites there. All right? Because you had a lot of Israelites back in those days and times that were in Rome. And as well as you still have it today, you have a lot of people in places like Italy and the capital of Italy that descend back to Jake, because Jake was there hundreds of years ago, even unto the point of 2,000 years ago. So now let's go into this real quick, and I'm really doing this for the edification, because sometimes you got to go back and touch on these stories that have taken place to reconfirm, you know, the doctrine, which we don't really have to do that, but just for the sake of the newer brothers that's coming in, so that they can get an understanding of what's been had, especially where it concerns Cornelius. Okay. Acts chapter 10 and verse 24. And the morrow after they entered into Caesarea, and Cornelius waited for them, and had called together his kinsmen and their friends. And as Peter was coming in, Cornelius met him and fell down at his feet and worshipped him. Something an Edomite could never do, because as it is written, that the Most High is not in all of their thoughts. Acts chapter 10 and verse 26. But Peter took him up, saying, stand up, I myself also am a man. And he talked with him, and he went in and found many that were come together. And he said unto them, ye know how that it is unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. But the Most High have showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean, right? Because the unclean, which represented the uncircumcision, which these were Israelites that lost their custom of being likened unto the Jews. So they were considered the unclean. The same people that the Jews looked down upon when you go into the history as to why, because they gave themselves unto the Greeks in the book of Maccabees. All right. And or they wouldn't register as Jews. They wouldn't register as who they came from or descended from. See, back in ancient Israel, you had to have your records to show forth who you descend from, which granted you the right to be in the land in the first place. And so these people, they look like the Jews that had kept their customs, or the Israelites that kept their customs, but they were not a part of that. They were absconded from the Commonwealth. All right. So the gospel was sent to them, these Israelite foreigners that had no idea of what was going on in regards to them being related to those people. Therefore came I unto you without gainsaying, and Cornelius was a part of that. As soon as I was sent for, I asked therefore for what intent you have sent for me. And Cornelius said, 4 days ago I was fasting until this hour. And at the 9th hour I prayed in my house. And behold, a man stood before me in bright clothing. Exactly. So this shows you once again that he has to be an Israelite. Because for one, this is something that an Israelite is going to do. And Cornelius damn sure wasn't an Edomite. And that's going to be my next video, because this guy even tried to speak on the fact that he could be an Edomite. But that could be further away from the truth. The scriptures says it in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, that the spirit in him is not upright in him. Who is this? Esau, the descendants of them. Okay? The descendants of Edom. The spirit that's in them is not upright in them. So why would they kneel down to pray to the Lord? And why would an Edomite man kneel down to another man such as the Apostle Peter? Doesn't make any sense, man. And said, Cornelius, thy prayers heard, and thine alms are had in remembrance in the sight of the Most High. So the angel, this is what the angel told him, that his prayer is heard, and also thine alms are had in the remembrance in the sight of the Most High. So this shows you he was an Israelite, because again, the Lord is not going to listen to the prayers of an Edomite, which is vanity, because the Edomites are not built to do the right thing, to give the right sacrifices. Anyway, so again, he would have had to have been an he would have had to have been an Israelite. He was an Israelite, not had to have been. He was an Israelite. All right. So that's as far as that goes. And the word Cornelius means horn. So this guy became the horn of the Gentiles, which the Apostle Paul was going to fulfill that office of being for the Gentiles and teaching them the truth that was first taught to the Jews, the Israelites that knew their customs. So we have here Cornelius, which is in the Greek Cornelius, which is the meaning of a horn, a Roman centurion of the Italian cohort stationed in Caesarea, who converted to Christianity, which Christianity, you have to be an Israelite to be a Christian, which the term Christian just means to be anointed. And who are the only people that were anointing themselves? Who are the only people that came up with that tradition? Israelites. So to be a Christian, you have to be an Israelite. So I think I've said what I had to say on this. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught me this truth well, and to include the elder bishops on down as well. Shalom.